Just on 1 year ago, I'd set out on my first ever long bike tour, a ride of over 4,000 kilometres from Finland to Portugal. And here I now found myself, ready to start the next chapter of this life on the ride journey of self-discovery.
Alright, well here I am at the municipal square in Caldas da Rainha. I'm just about to head out. Sunrise is in about 20 or so minutes, I guess. And it's a cool morning, but it's going to get up to about 25 degrees, so I'm just looking forward to getting rolling. There's my Matilda, she's all packed up, got my safety vest on, going to put the lights on, and it's time to head out on leg one of the Tour de Portugal.
I think, as a consequence of the experiences from that first tour, I was now happy with where my life was at generally. So, before I'd barely started this new chapter, I'd finally internalised the true value of undertaking any journey, which is not about how fast it is done, but how well. Heading southwards, we rolled through the nearby medieval town of Óbidos, one of the most picturesque and well preserved in Portugal. I'd actually lived there for 4 months back in 2015, while spending time at the local co-work space, Espaço O, while writing my book Life on the Run, which was very fitting as the surrounding landscapes were ideal for engaging in my passion of trail running. The Óbidos aqueduct seemed to be pointing the way for us to go, a climb up to Uceira, which would take us to the edge of the Shire, where we'd have to leave the familiar behind. At that point, we would be stepping, or in this case rolling, into the unknown once again.
About an hour into my ride, I did my first reasonable climb of the day up to the top of Uceira. I'm on my way to Serra de Montejunto. I'm just about to start my descent into, I think it's Carvalhal, and I'm going to have a coffee break there. Actually, if you look in that direction there, that's actually where the mountain is, but of course you can't see it because we're right in the middle of a mist. But it's absolutely a gorgeous morning, really sunny. Warm, and it's just a joy to be in this mist and get rolling. So now time for a bit of downhill and coffee break.
The first major location of interest to visit was Serra de Montejunto, a limestone mountain ridge rising 666 metres above sea level. It's covered with naturally adapted vegetation, with the home and kermes oaks dominating. Humans already settled on the mountain in the Neolithic period, with the remnants of necropolis caves and castles to be found. The top of the mountain was even chosen in the 12th century as the location for Portugal's first Dominican convent. The ride up ended up being easier than I'd expected, despite not having been in the saddle for 10 months. However, I did occasionally have to get off and push. The grade was just simply beyond my capacity to spin with enough power to move both myself and a fully laden Matilda up to the summit. However, since I'd left my ego back at the base of the mountain, I, at least, was in no rush. though I can't speak for my trusted two-wheel travel companion. In the end, the slow climb was more than worth the struggle as Portugal opened up in all directions, including over the route that we'd covered that morning, as well as in the direction that we were heading in the afternoon towards the Tagus River.
Alright, well I've made it to the summit of Serra de Montejunto, which is the first of the major places that I wanted to visit on this leg one of the Tour de Portugal. I'm at an elevation of about 660 odd meters. It's got 360 degree views in all directions, and I can even see over to the Tagus River, which is over that way, and that's where I'll be headed. I was planning to go there actually today, which would be another 40-45k, but I found out there's a camping ground here on the mountain, and with the weather being so good and the amazing views and just the absolute amazing peace and quiet here, I think it's worth staying here for the rest of the afternoon, just chilling out and relaxing, and then continuing on tomorrow. So, well, we'll see. But anyway, so that's the first, I guess, morning of riding done. Feeling pretty good, and yeah, what a great way to start. All right, so see you further down the road.
The descent was, not surprisingly, fast and exhilarating, and thankfully the afternoon's ride was over mostly flat and mildly undulating terrain. We passed through the small towns of Alcocentre and Cartacho as we worked our way towards our first crossing of the Tagus River at Morgado, by the famous Ponte Rainha Dona Amélia. This old railway bridge, which is constructed from 14 spans for a total length of 840 metres, was converted to also take road traffic in 2001.
At the Ponte Rainha Dona Amélia, which is the bridge between Dona Amélia, it crosses the Tagus River. Now I'm going to the campground, which is on the other side, or a little bit further down there, actually on the waterfront, which will be nice. I had to ride to that one because the campground, which was in Serra de Montejunto, actually ended up being closed. But, well, when you got something like this to cross and look at the views, well, who's complaining? All right, see ya.
Crossing the Tagus, the same river that flows into Lisbon, was a significant moment as Matilda and I were now definitely entering into new and unknown territory. We'd be meeting her again in 5 days' time on our way back towards the Atlantic coast, but for now we still had some 12 kilometres to go to get to our first evening's rest stop, the Parque de Campismo Escaroupim. I spent the evening on my own in silence while enjoying a few sagres and abatanados at the campsite cafe. When finally back in my tent, and as I waited for my eyes to close, I remember feeling a deep sense of contentment. I don't think that there was any other specific reason for it, except maybe the realization about just how wonderful it felt to be back on the road again.